We have a common misconception about psychopaths. We think they are always serial killers or hardened criminals. However, a psychopath can also emerge in the modern world as a tremendously successful person. Kevin Dutton defines psychopaths as people who do not feel fear or grief. Now, let's think about it. A person who feels no fear or grief could easily be a hardened criminal. They have no fear of doing illegal things or being caught. Furthermore, they don't feel grief when they harm people. It's no surprise that prisons are full of psychopaths. But that same psychopath could also be a very successful CEO. They aren't afraid of taking risks or turning to entrepreneurship. Additionally, the failures they experience in this process do not cause them grief. They continue to focus on their goal like a wild predator. Lou Bloom is a perfect example of a successful psychopath. And the movie Nightcrawler is a kind of success story that we are not used to seeing in cinema. From the very first scene, Lou appears before us as a penniless and unemployed person. He was making a living by committing thefts and selling what he stole here and there. Then one day, he encounters a vehicle that has crashed. Seeing journalists with cameras flocking to the scene, Lou gets curious and asks someone there exactly what they do and how much they earn. These people are known as freelance journalists. When a striking event like a fire, accident, or murder occurs, they go to the scene as soon as possible, film it with a camera, and sell these images to news channels for money. Lou thinks he can do this job too. He buys a camera and a police radio with the money he got from selling a stolen bicycle, and gets to work. His ambition to rise and his lack of moral concerns have worked. Lou expands his business in a short time. In this process, he hires a poor man named Rick as an employee and tries to get close to Nina, the presenter of the channel he sells news to. Throughout the story, we see this character trying to manipulate everyone around him with all kinds of lies. Lou has two most striking features: ambition and manipulation. We will, of course, touch upon these traits in him. But first, let's look at the first noticeable side of this character, his artificiality. Lou said these words to the junk dealer.
I'm looking for a job. In fact, I made up my mind to find a career that I can learn and grow into. Who am I? I'm a hard worker. I set high goals, and I've been told that I'm persistent.
Now, here's the problem. Normally, if you send such a speech as an email for a job application to a company, it looks quite good. But we humans do not talk like this in spoken language. Lou is someone who does everything by the book, but that's exactly the problem. He does everything by the book, he talks by rote, and people feel this artificiality in him. I mean, you don't need to use this much corporate language. You are selling stolen junk to a junk dealer, and the junk dealer is aware that you are a thief. Lou is someone who has spent his life alone in his room in front of a computer, or with personal development books. He has probably read works like The Art of Influencing People. Because he is asocial, he is incompetent in real human interactions. While making his speech, he cannot see the detail that the junk dealer does not even take him seriously. Lou is not only artificial, but also falls into a cringe and funny situation by talking like this. We sense that even Nina, no matter how professional she acts around Lou, is internally ashamed and finds him strange as she listens to this man. Besides using a formal language, Lou speaks extremely fast. This is one of the effects left on him by the personal development books he read. They call this an elevator pitch in the business world. You need to sell yourself to someone in as short a time as an elevator ride. In about 30 seconds, you garnish and convey important information about yourself with impressive word choices. Lou's problem is this: normally, these elevator pitches are done in plaza environments. Lou, on the other hand, goes and makes this speech to a junk dealer who knows he is a thief. From one perspective, there's someone before us who looks absurd, ironic, and ultimately funny. For example, look at this lie he told Rick.
I run a successful TV news business. We film breaking stories. Maybe you saw my item this morning with fatal carjacking.
No, Lou hadn't even become successful in this process. He had only been able to secure 1 or 2 jobs. Under this statement was, of course, the intent to manipulate Rick, but beyond that, Lou is applying the philosophy called fake it till you make it, which we frequently see on motivation pages, act as if I am truly successful. Until you reach success, there is no human before us. It's as if there is a human form of a cheap personal development book that plays to the masses. Lou almost never seems like a human to us in any scene, but this character has a habit that seems human to a degree that doesn't suit him. Watering his plants. A person as emotionless as Lou watering his plants seems like it's out of character. Yet, even this action has a correspondence in his mind. Lou says the following to the detective who interrogates him.
Would you tell me how it is you were at the Chinatown Express tonight and called the 911?
Of course. It began earlier in the day. I was watering my plant.
Lou tries to resemble a normal human with every move he makes. Watering his plants is one of them. Even with such a simple habit, he tries to say to his surroundings, "Look, I'm someone like you." He introduces himself as if he is an extroverted person. He tries to be humorous, because he knows that if he builds a social charisma, he will be more successful. Let's look at one of the most impressive and creepy scenes of the movie.
I can tell by your tie, it's Friday.
Lou is practicing laughing in this scene. He laughs as if someone is with him and looks to his left as if waiting for approval. And he applies the practice of the laughter he did here in the business world. Still, we cannot say he is very successful. A person who trusts their intuition even a little would realize how artificial Lou looks. Even while he is laughing, while Lou's mouth is smiling, the inside of his eyes is not smiling. The lower part of his face is not bad, but he cannot hide that coldness in the upper part. Lou is not that artificial towards Rick. After all, is an employee who has become dependent on him. And because Rick noticed the lack of understanding in Lou in one scene, he told him, "You don't understand people." Lou's answer was of a nature that summarized his character. What if my problem wasn't that I don't understand people, but that I don't like them? Lou is not an extroverted or humorous person. We see how cold and indifferent he is in his context with Rick, but he is aware that being cheerful and witty will add a plus to him in the business world. Therefore, just like a student studying for a lesson, Lou is working on social communication skills. If he wants to be successful, he has to keep his relations good with certain people. His emotions are always artificial. There are only two moments where he truly gets caught up in emotionality. One is when he is successful, and the other is when he is unsuccessful. This character is essentially a reservoir of ambition. Jake Gyllenhaal, the actor who portrayed Lou Bloom, lost almost 10 kilos for this character, because Lou resembled a hungry animal in terms of his ambition, and being thin added an impression of hunger to him in terms of appearance as well. In the 2020 for film Roadhouse, the same actor appeared before us as a retired UFC fighter with a more built physique. Lou's strongest weapon is not his intelligence or manipulation skill. It is his ambition. He is a perfectionist and pays attention to the work he does. Yes, he is truly a fast learner. He is hardworking and disciplined. He immediately catches the critical points in his profession. Every time, he tries to raise the bar of the work he does even higher. And he does not shy away from competition. Director Dan Gilroy said that while designing this character, he imagined a hungry coyote. In the film, Lou really looks like a hungry wild animal with his eyes fixed on his prey. Throughout the movie, this character blinks so little that he has a complete psychopathic look. Let's go back to the metaphor of Lou and the hungry coyote. A wild animal does not have moral values. That animal moves like a machine programmed only for its target and does not feel any remorse. After tearing its prey apart, morality is applicable to us humans, but Lou is closer to a wild animal than a human, and he knows that being this way works to his advantage. If he hadn't told lies to Rick, it wouldn't have been this easy to hire him or keep him in the job. While he had a good competition with Joe at first, when he saw Joe progressing, he sabotaged his vehicle and broke the braking system, causing him to have an accident. Lou mentioned in one part that he worked in a repair shop. It's a nice detail because Lou managed to break Joe's braking system with what he learned while working in the repair shop. But Lou's ambition helped him most in the footage he shot. In one scene, he went to the accident area and moved the body of the injured, perhaps dead. man near the headlights to catch a better camera angle. When he learned that burglars had entered a mansion, despite having the possibility of perhaps saving the lives of the injured. By informing the police and ambulance, he chose to go inside and film. And this news became the best news of his career and enabled him to open his own company. Lou was aware that if he were an honest and good person, he wouldn't be able to reach success this quickly. Joe would continue to shoot some news before him, and if Lou had thought about people's lives, he wouldn't have been able to capture those striking images. However, what did we say? He is a hungry animal. He wants to reach money and success as soon as possible. On top of that, he doesn't like people. Actually, rather than not liking people, Lou is someone who does not value human life. After Joe had the accident, even though Rick said, "Don't film that man. He is one of us," Lou says. "Not anymore, Rick. We are professionals." He is now material. One reason for his being this successful is this: he is a man with no one. He has no friends, no family, no girlfriend. He lives alone. He has no responsibility towards anyone and nothing to lose. Because he is not emotionally attached to people, he is carefree. An animal whose only concern is hunting will eventually reach its target somehow. In one scene, after learning that Rick was homeless, Lou asked, "Are you doing sex work?" In an interview, the director says that in this scene, he actually tried to show that Lou once did sex work to earn money. Probably, the perverse fantasies he wanted to impose on Nina were influenced by this work he did in the past. Lou told Nina, "Being a freelance journalist is my passion." It's not really his passion, because Lou met this profession by chance. Rather than the job itself, he loved the power and money he obtained through that job. But having a psychopathic insensitivity helped him in his profession. Imagine us doing Lou's profession in the middle of the night with a camera in our hand. We take images of accidents and murders involving brutality. There are people who would be exposed to such an event and not be able to forget that image. For many years, Lou's emotionless structure forms a good combination with his profession in the story. There are two people Lou can really manipulate, Rick and Nina. Let's start with Rick first. The relationship between these two, it might be a strange analogy, is exactly like an anxious avoidant relationship. Rick is a man in need of money and homeless. He looks to get through the day. He is in need of even the ridiculously low money Lou will give. Lou, on the other hand, like a manipulative toxic partner who says "I'll leave you at every troubled moment," threatens to fire Rick the moment he finds an opportunity. Someone poor like Rick is exactly to Lou's taste. Psychological threats gradually turn into physical threats. And as soon as he realizes he can no longer manipulate Rick, he removes him from the equation. The manipulation Lou applied to Rick is nothing compared to the one he applied to Nina. Nina is smarter and more alert than Rick. She is at a level we could call a judge of character because she has been a journalist for many years. But Nina's problem is this: she has lost that prime period in her career. She has now aged, and younger and more beautiful prisoners have taken her place. She is aware that she has come to the end of her career and misses her prime period. She even does whatever it takes to return to those days. Lou immediately identifies this weakness in Nina and attacks her exactly from these parts. For example, by making a comparison with another female presenter who is more popular than her at the channel. She works for. Lou knows that with the images he brings, he increases the ratings of the channel and revitalizes Nina's career. And he applies the same tactic to Nina that he applied to Rick to manipulate her. He gives the message: "If you don't do what I want, I won't bring you footage again, and your already shaky career will be ruined." Moreover, Lou wants to control Nina not only psychologically, but also physically, to get her into bed. In the end, he succeeds. At first, we are surprised that Lou can control Nina so easily. Nina is truly a smart woman who can read people well, but this woman's wound is that her career, which brought her all that fame and money, is shaky. Because Lou attacks exactly this wound, he is successful in his manipulations. Lou is not an exaggeratedly great master of manipulation, and the film has not lost its realism in this part. Rick needed money, and Nina needed a career again. Lou was able to manipulate these to people who were in need of something. Yes, but let's also move on to those Lou could not manipulate. For example, those fancy words of his did not show any effect on the junk dealer or the merchant, because these two characters, unlike Nina and Rick, were not in need of what Lou could provide. Especially Detective Frontier immediately notices the cheap lies and exaggerated roles Lou tells. In this scene, he assumes a manner as if he were sad about Rick's death. This artificial manner is impossible not to notice, no matter how much Lou practices certain human emotions. The artificiality in him reveals itself in every way. Also, the detective is a woman with a strong memory. The detective immediately understood that Lou lied about whether he saw the attackers. While recording at the mansion, Lou's manipulation is exactly like a toxic relationship dynamic. In a toxic relationship, if the other party has never been loved in their life and is in a position of needing a relationship, they are easier to manipulate. But someone who is not in need easily understands those cheap manipulation tricks. In this story, Lou has only been able to manipulate those who are in need of him. There's a sneaky tactic the film applies to us viewers to make us feel empathy for Lou. Yes, the film does exactly this. Remember the part where Lou pulled the body of the crashed man near the headlights to get a better image. In this scene, the music playing in the background is like the music used in motivational videos. The film wants us to see Lou's story as a success story deep down. The first word out of Lou's mouth at the beginning of the movie is "I am lost." The film starts by putting Lou in a pathetic state. Lou is someone who is lost in this life and is looking for a job in a helpless way. When Lou is successful, we inevitably get excited. We are impressed by this journey that starts from the very bottom and rises. Lou is even more than a nihilist, psychopath, or egoist. He is a complete capitalist. He reinvests the money he earns back into his business. He buys a better camera, switches to a sports car to go to the scene quickly. He is a capitalist hero. But the film has not tried to pull the wool over our eyes by showing this hero as excessively fascinating. For example, Lou is not that charismatic. When he hits on Nina, he uses such weird sentences that we feel ashamed on his behalf. He is like an absurd and ironic character popped out of a humor magazine. That excessively strange state looks funny. Director Dan Gilroy says the following about how he designed Lou Bloom. I imagine him as a child, lonely and with his computer as his only possession. In his helpless loneliness and madness, the rules of capitalism became religion for him. If you have only one direction to climb, and it is up, then having a goal gives you sanity. I think Lou started searching for things like personal development aphorisms on the internet. I believe he is an extreme capitalist, and that capitalism is a religion. A religion that gives him sanity and finally drives him mad and pushes him down the cliff. Someone who senselessly chases a goal that can never be reached. This finally leaves only a hunger in him, and that hunger is of a kind that is never satisfied. Lou is not a product of the society we are in, but our society allows people like Lou to rise. Society did not make Lou a psychopath. Lou is a born psychopath, and his psychopathic features helped him rise in the modern world. The movie Nightcrawler was inspired by a real person. Arthur Felig did exactly the same thing Lou did in the 1930s when a murder occurred. He arrived at the scene before the police, took a photo of the murder scene, and sold these photos to newspapers. People showed so much interest in these images containing slaughtered bodies that Arthur built a career out of this business. He was known by the phrase "murder is my business." We love striking and brutal images. We are curious. The statistics Lou gave to Nina are correct. People are more curious about crime news than daily boring news. Such news brings more ratings and interaction to the channel. That's why I love the ending of the movie, because Lou has become successful. Like many successful psychopaths, he has grown his company. He is a predatory animal. Let's think of this movie like a wilderness documentary. The cinematography of the movie also shifts to a documentary format in places. With its clear shots of the distant view of Los Angeles, the movie has a documentary texture. We see a wild animal struggle for survival, and just as we are impressed by predators, Lou impresses us too. There's a meaningful scene at the end of the movie Lou has grown his company and hired new employees. And in the last scene, each of them spreads into the streets of Los Angeles just like a virus spreading. This is the danger of psychopaths. These people try to make the people they manipulate look like themselves too.